No surrender, no defeat. Maybe it's time for an Evercade retreat.
Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. My name is Gene Jack and today I'm ranking all the games from the Namco Collection Volume 1 for the Evercade. This car and the other Namco Collection, they are both limited to being played on the handheld devices. Well, and the Alpha as it's deemed as a portable device, I suppose, because it's got a screen built in. But they won't work on the Evercade VS or VSR. Both collections, there are some games which I would much rather play on a console rather than on a handheld. And I've played them less because of this. There's also a collection where I have finished less of the games than usual. There's some I just didn't get on with, or because they're on handheld, I just didn't really gel with on that format. So, like I say, it's more of a ranking than a review, but I'll give my overall thoughts on the car at the end.
Number 11
is Quad Challenge. This is a quad bike racing game, as you can tell from the title, and it's for the Sega Mega Drive. As far as Mega Drive games go, it's very basic looking. I thought it was an NES game at first, to be perfectly honest. It's really not a very good racing game, and I've barely played it. I just don't get on with it at all, and have no interest in persevering with it. Maybe I will one day.
Number 10
is Mappy Kids. This is an NES platformer and sequel to Mappy, which is also on this collection. It's a very average platformer. It doesn't really control that great in my opinion. Both the attacks and the movement just don't feel quite right. Graphics are very basic but cute and got a bit of charm into it. There's some nice bonus stages and things there. There's some interesting ideas, but it's just very average. I finished this about a year ago and I can barely remember any of it. Just not that great.
Number 9
is Libble Rabble. This is a puzzle game for the Super Nintendo. It's got some fairly basic graphics and a novel control scheme. When I say novel, it's basically twin stick control, or on the Evercade you use a D-pad for one character and the face buttons for the other, and you have to coordinate them. You have two arrows, Libble and Rabble, who are connected by a piece of string. You use it to encircle items and things on the screen to effectively complete levels. And I don't get on with the controls for this. The controls work fine for something like Xenocrisis, but for whatever reason I find it hard coordinating them both in such a manner to work with this gameplay type. And as a result, I've just not played that much of it because I struggle with the controls. It's a shame because I think this would have been a game that I'd quite enjoy otherwise, but I just haven't been able to get on with it.
Number 8
is Xevious. Now this is a bit of a classic shoot 'em up, and this isn't a bad version for the NES, but playing it these days I just don't find it quite as engaging as I used to. It's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, like I said, it's a pretty good version. It doesn't really hold my interest in the same way that other shoot 'em ups do.
Number 7
is Metal Marines. This is a real-time strategy for the Super Nintendo, and it's a game that I feel would work better on a console. Really, when I'm doing handheld gaming, I mostly do smaller sessions, whereas a game like this I like to sit down and really take my time with and play on a big screen and be comfortable and what have you. So it's lower than it would be if I was ranking it as a jet game in general, but in relation to the Evercade and this collection, it ends up here. No means a bad game.
Number 6
is Pac-Man. This is the NES port of Pac-Man, and it's a pretty decent port. I really can't complain about it as a version of Pac-Man, and I like myself a bit of Pac-Man here and there. I think I've been spoiled with more recent Pac-Man games, and this one, it's fine. I don't tend to play it that often. I would rather play some of the other games on this collection.
Number 5
is Galaxian. Yet another Namco classic. It's a good fun game, and this is a good version. Again, the NES port. Really not much to say here because it's a famous game and it's been talked about to death, I'm sure. I like it in small doses, but I just get more out of the other games on this collection.
Number 4
is Dig Dug, another arcade classic, and once again it's the NES port, which again is a decent port. I mean, a game like this, the NES wouldn't have much trouble running. I played this a lot as a kid on various conversions. I played the arcade a couple of times. Yeah, always been a fan of this game. I like it a lot. Again, other games in this collection are more my jam.
Number 3
is Starluster, a game I'd never heard of before. It's a space shoot 'em up from the cockpit view. I wouldn't say simulation, it is a blast 'em up, and I really like it. It's a game that I would have loved as a kid. I really liked Star Raiders and things like that, and this is in a similar vein. I think others would rank it as highly as I do, but again, this is just my jam, and I really enjoy playing it.
Number 2
is Battle Cars. This is a Super Nintendo combat racing game, which I suppose could loosely be described as a hybrid of F-Zero and Mario Kart. Not many others would rate this so highly, but it's just my kind of jam. Select your car, upgrade it, take out enemies, blow them off the track in various different types of race and sort of events. I know that if I'd played this back in the day, I would have absolutely loved it. I still really enjoy it now. So yeah, I mean, this sort of thing is a bit more my jam than your older arcade games, so it's probably why it's ranking higher. fire. Many of those, I've played them so much over the years that I suppose they're a little bit tired and I come back to them, they haven't got the level of excitement. Whereas Battle Cars is one that is due to me on the Evercade and I really enjoy it.
Number 1.
Is Mappy. You know, I was just saying about older style arcade games. Well, Mappy I never played or heard of back in the day. First time I heard of it was on the Evercade, and it was the first time I played it. I have played a game called Crime Busters on the ZX Spectrum, which was essentially a rip-off of Mappy. But, you know, a less complex scoring system, and it was literally just a single screen. But I had a lot of fun with it, and Mappy reminded me of that. I ended up finding it sort of thoroughly addictive, really got into it, enjoying the learning how to maximise your score and the little quirks of it, mastering the bonus stages so I can get the highest score pretty much every time. Well, a lot of the time.
Final verdict.
In all honesty, my ranking on this collection ended up surprising me, and it changed an awful lot while I was going through it. Simple fact is there is a whole bunch of older arcade classics here, and they still hold up today for the most part, even bearing in mind that these are ports rather than the arcade originals. Sure, many would rank these games very differently to what I have, and hey, that's fine, everyone's got their preferences. There's very few bad games on this collection. It is pretty strong as a whole, and if you're a fan of the older Namco arcade games, you probably like this collection maybe a bit more than I do. While I would give it a score of 7.5 out of 10, I'd imagine many would rate it higher. And mentioning again, if it wasn't locked to handheld devices, I would probably rank it a bit higher as well. Anyway, I think that covers it for this video. So once again, I'll leave you with a silly song based on one of the games, and I'll see you in the next video.
I'm in a maze filled with pills, ghosts giving me chills. They chase me down, all over the town. Oh man, give them pills, I can never get my fill. I'm the Pac-Man, I run from the ghosts until I get my drugs. Then I'll be slapping like I'm a pill-popping thug. In a haze I'm filled with pills, eating ghosts gives me a thrill. I go to town, smacking them down. Oh man, give them pills, I can never get my fill. I'm the Pac-Man, I run from the ghosts until I get my drugs. Then I'll be slapped them like I'm a pill-popping thug. In a haze I'm filled with pills, eating ghosts gives me a thrill. I go to town, smacking them down. Oh man, give them pills, I can never get my fill. I'm the Pac-Man, I run from the ghosts until I get my drugs. Then I'll be slapped them like I'm a pill-popping thug. Lost in the maze, in a trance, lost in repetitive music, popping pills like the junkie I am. If I don't stay hydrated, I get Pac-Man fever. Oh man, give them pills, I can never get my fill. I'm the Pac-Man, I run from the ghosts until I get my drugs. Then I'll be slapped them like I'm a pill-popping thug. I'm in a maze filled with pills, ghosts they give me chills. They chase me down, all over the town. Oh man, give them pills, I can never get my fill. I'm the Pac-Man, I run from the ghosts until I get my drugs. Then I'll be slapped up like I'm a pill-popping thug.